All right, so I've been doing this for a while now, like just kind of talking into my camera here, mainly like just for myself, about fencing thoughts, right? I've been calling them my video sword notes. This might be the first one that I actually just kind of post onto like YouTube for like the general public to see. So this is about, I guess, the foundational skills and progression in fencing. And I'm gonna, I guess, draw a parallel to something that's unfortunately probably going to be lost on a lot of people, but it's the only parallel I got, so you guys can bear with me on that one. So in we'll start with just marksmanship, right? In marksmanship, take shooting from the draw with a pistol, for example. You typically are taught like staged positions, right? Like, what is it? Like position 1, 2, 3, and 4, out to full presentation. The way that I was taught is like, yeah, you need to understand those staged positions, but only so you're kind of getting the right track going. But then you don't actually use those staged positions once you get to a certain level, right? You kind of round off the corners, right? And it's the same thing for the way that I was taught CQB is you learn points of domination first, and then you start to round off the corners, right? You start to do, what we called free flow CQB, right? So that's all still based off of points of domination, but so you need to understand points of domination, move to and through your points of domination, and that's free flow, right? Which has its advantages. Just like, rounding off the corners of your draw has advantages. You got to understand the stage positions first. So fencing, right? The way this ties into fencing is, in my opinion, parry, riposte fencing. Think like, saber fencing, like more like military saber fencing, is more, generally like parry, riposte, type stuff, and using feints when you're attacking, right? Now this is just a generalization. This is not going to stand up in court, right? What I mean by that is like, yeah, you're going to be able to find examples counter to everything I say if you dig far enough. But anyway, generally speaking, it's a lot of parry, riposte, and like, attacks using feints and stuff like that, right? Versus a lot of what makes longsword fencing, what makes it unique is single time counters and attacking with opposition and stuff like that, right? So it's those single time counters and attacks with opposition that kind of relate to free flow CQB, while your parry, riposte, and stuff like that is more like your points of domination, right? Because all you're doing with a single time counter is, instead of making your parry and then attacking back, is you're just rounding off the corners and you're parrying and attacking at the same time, right? So it's just, think like, when you're teaching somebody fencing or when you're training fencing yourself, you have to have that foundation, or really helps, try not to speak in absolutes here. It really helps to have that foundation in parry, riposte fencing. That way you know what needs to be in place to actually protect yourself and then attack the other person, not yourself. Or to be able to close out that line and attack with opposition, you need to understand the like 1-2 part of it before you just do one, right? Yeah, so that's just, I think that's it. Just kind of, parry, riposte is kind of like points of domination. You round off the corners of parry, riposte type fencing, and you get into single time counters and attacks with opposition, which is more like your free flow CQB, or again, going from your staged positions into just following that track, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe that'll be helpful for somebody's mindset, or what to focus on in their training. Thanks for your time.